Hello, everybody. It's us again. We are so excited for another phenomenal episode. The title of this episode is How to Become More Confident. But just before we get here, guys, please follow us on our social media. Follow us on our YouTube channel, Conversation Guru, our podcast, Converse with Anyone, Anywhere. Follow this channel, share it, like it, and comment. So we're very excited to talk about this topic that you guys sent to us. So we really appreciate it. And if any of you have more questions or want to know something, please send it our ways. We will look at the question and then we'll do a whole video about it and publish it.
For sure, guys. We love the questions and we love answering them.
Oh, of course. So, let's begin, Elisa.
Hold on a second.
Oh.
Is that go? Okay, never mind.
She's so romantic. She loves me.
I clean his face.
Okay, now, Elisa, how can the people who are watching right now, right? Which, by the way, this is a great question. A lot of people, they might even say it's a very cliche question because, everyone wants to become more confident. How do you become more confident? And we're going to try to avoid telling the viewers very cliche things. But now the question is, what are some techniques or tactics that people can employ like today or tomorrow, like right now, so your confidence, that inner feeling of being confident in whatever area of your life can increase and you can just do better overall?
Well, I want to just step backwards just a little bit before that because I think before we even talk about how to become more confident, we should talk about what confidence even is, right? Like, let's define it really quick. For me, confidence is the unshaking belief that I can overcome whatever comes my way. Yeah. You agree?
I agree 100%, okay.
Okay. So, how to actually accomplish that? It's not the simplest thing, and a lot of people think like, oh, well, I'm just not so confident, so I'm never going to be able to do it, right? Or, that person's just really confident, that's why they were able to. But, if I was as confident as them, I could do it. What do you think about, statements like that?
So, when it comes to statements like that, it really depends. Because I think a lot of times when people say stuff like that, immediately the thing that comes to my head is that these people, I always think about people's past. A lot of times when people say certain things, it's correlated with their past. So a lot of these people who start to bring up, well, if I just had that confidence, I could do the same thing. I could do that. I could do this. Yes and no. These people, they probably had a past where maybe their parents, schooling, they weren't so nice to them. They were very hard on them. They didn't believe in them. So, their self-esteem has been hit, has been stabbed a couple times. But they also have self-pity on themselves. Self-pity on themselves, and they're not doing anything about it, not even the most remote thing to fix it or to try to better themselves. They're just comparing themselves. If I had that, I would do better. But they're saying the word if, because they don't have it, and because they don't have it, they're not trying to accomplish what they really want.
I agree. I'm going to actually be a little bit, guys, I'm warning you, I'm going to be a little bit harsh right now. Okay. Just a little bit harsh, but it's a real truth, guys. A lot of people say they can't do things because their ego is getting in the way. Because they get in their own way. And not because oh, I'm so sad, I can't do things like that. No, it's because they're scared of being embarrassed. Because think about it this way, right? A lot of people think that I should just be good at things naturally, right? I was born and I want to do something, I want to paint, right? So I should just be good at it, right? Because if I'm not good at it the first time I try, that means I'm bad at it, right? If someone told you that, what would you say to them?
I would think they're ridiculous.
Ridiculous? Why is that ridiculous?
And then they need to get shot. No, I'm kidding.
Whoa.
No.
I don't think so, guys.
Because I know there's that expression that says that, I was born to do something, right? But just because you're born and there's something you want to do, it doesn't mean that you're automatically going to be great at it.
Exactly. Every single thing takes practice. One example that I love to give is a baby, right? When a baby is born, can they walk?
No.
No. But an athlete, can they walk?
Yes.
When they were born, could they walk?
No.
But they're really good at walking, so why couldn't they walk when they were born?
Because they couldn't.
Exactly. Did they fall down when they first started practicing? Yeah. But with practice and falling down, eventually you learn how to do it, right? But the reason that babies actually learn how to walk is because they're not embarrassed by the fact that they're falling down. Right. And they're not so critical on themselves for the fact that they fall down. They just maybe they'll cry a little bit, but they'll get up afterwards, right? People don't let themselves be babies in any new subjects, right? Let's say I want to get really good at French, right? We want to learn French. in the beginning, I'm not going to sound the best. I'm not going to have a good accent. I'm not going to be able to put the grammar correctly together. All of that is going to be all over the place. But if I just let myself be that baby, if I let myself fall down, mess up, and get back up without being so harsh on myself, then you eventually get good at things, right? And that's how you build that confidence. Because you know, like, even if right now you're not good at it, you'll get there. You just need time and practice. So I think the first step to building confidence is knowing that it's okay to mess up, right?
Okay. Now, what if someone were to tell you, okay, but that's obvious?
It's not obvious.
Well, but let's say someone it's obvious. What else? What else can I do to become more confident? Because obviously I need to practice it. Okay, but what else? What else can you tell me, Lisa?
So what I would say is you got to shift your mindset a little bit. Also from a mindset of like, oh, I can't do things to thinking that like I will be able to do this one day. Because I think actually the root of a lot of people's confidence issues is actually the school system, right? I think a lot of people go into school, and because the school system is like catered really to like one type of student really, and like a lot of teachers aren't able to teach to every type of student out there, where their parents who are not supportive, like kids think that like, oh, I'm not as good as everyone else. They're just like, I'm just inherently not as good as everyone else because I can't get the grades, because I don't understand the material or things like that, right? So a lot of times people can have bad confidence because they didn't do well in school.
Okay.
Right? Now, that's ridiculous. Like, we all know nowadays that there's so many different types of learners out there, right? And that your behavior or your results in one area of your life do not reflect the rest of your life, right?
Correct.
So you have to kind of look back there and say like, okay, the way that I was in school doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that I'm not able to learn things. Now, why specifically is school the important one? Because school is where you learn how to learn, really, right?
True.
So people think that they can't do things, or they'll never be able to do things because they can't figure out how, right? And why can't they figure out how? Because they're bad at school. But that's not necessarily true. There's a million ways to learn. So you have to remember that just because, let's say, you were bad in school, or let's say you weren't motivated in school or anything like that, that doesn't show anything for your ability to learn now. You just need to find the way that you can learn. So if you get to the mindset of like, I can learn anything that I want to, like even if I don't know it right now, but I can learn it in the future, it makes you more confident. Because let's say someone tells me, like, let's say you know a lot about a lot of things. I don't know, like you know a lot about physical therapy, right? I don't. Does that mean you're smarter than me or that you're better than me?
No.
It just means you know more than me, right? So if you start to think like that, you're not going to be intimidated by people, and you're not going to be like less confident about yourself, because you know that if you gave it the opportunity, if you gave it the effort that you need to put in, you would be able to get good results as well.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think that was a lot of people they don't think about it, about that in order to increase confidence. A lot of times, a lot of people are not confident, or their self-esteem is down, is because of the school system.
But don't go blaming the school system, guys. Like, it's your responsibility to fix.
No, of course, 100%. But I think it's important that I told you this earlier, that what you can do is, like, let's say you lack confidence, that you don't feel confident, and it doesn't necessarily only have to be career or school wise. It could be like dating wise. Maybe you're learning a certain skill. It could be so many aspects, right? A lot of times it's important, and I'm not saying to look at your past to blame people, because it's a past story. There's nothing that you can do about it. But look at your past. Maybe see if there were some trends where maybe some people didn't treat you well, your parents didn't give you the support, or the school system, or you had a bad experience, blah, 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 right? You want to see where that trend was, or where was it that maybe it scarred you, and now you're not as confident, because that's definitely possible. It happens to people, right?
100%.
So, but you're not looking to put your finger to someone to blame. You're looking at it, so now you can tell yourself, okay, the reason I'm not confident, maybe in this area, or not as confident as I would like, is because of this certain moment in my life, or this situation. So now you're aware of something. Now you can be like, okay, I'm like this for this reason. Now the next thing you have to think is what Eliza mentioned. How can I find a solution? Like, how can I overcome it? How can I go over that hurdle? Right? And there's so many different techniques out there, different books that you can read and employ. One thing that a lot of people do is that they do something called that self-motivation. Like, yes, I can do this. Like, they pump themselves up. They do the Superman pose. They'll start flexing their muscles. They'll do a warm-up, right? But I read a book by Dan Pink called To Sell is Human. Great book, by the way. It's in my library back there. It's a great book. But there was a little section that spoke about that. And the science, a lot of research showed that actually the best way to motivate yourself was not warming up, was not telling yourself that you're the best, that you can do it. Was actually, had nothing to do with that. Actually, the best way to pump yourself up or to get more confidence, let's say if you were going to go give a speech or you wanted to ask someone out, is you have to think. And this is a great technique, guys. So please, this is very tactical advice now. So listen to it and then maybe write it down, and then you can go back and review the notes so you can actually do it in your own life. Which is this. It was to think of a moment, either a very similar situation that you're in now, that maybe that you succeeded in, that you did well in. Or maybe it doesn't have to be similar, but something that you did really well that was hard. And then ask yourself, okay, I know I was able to do X, Y, Z. I know I was able to go give that speech. I was able to get this career. Okay, how did I do it? That's important. How did I do it? And when you're trying to become confident or trying to overcome a hurdle or gain that confidence for a certain situation, speak to yourself in your head, right? I'm trying to accomplish this. What do I have to do to get it? How can I do it? And you just talk to yourself logically. Okay, I know I'm going to have to maybe put 10 hours a week to get better at coding. And then once I get better at this, then maybe I can get this program. It can teach me a little bit more. Then I can do this and do that. So it's like connecting the dots. And you're asking yourself, what can I do to get there? Okay, I've done this before, or it's a different situation, and then I did all these steps and I did it. So when it comes to this, maybe my trajectory has to be a little bit different, or I need to just do a couple different steps that are different. But the secret is speak to yourself in a logical way and say, what do I need to do to get there, and answer your own question.
You know, there's so many things I want to like piggyback off of what you said. Like, I'm gonna pick only 3 of them because we only have so much time.
Yeah.
But you said some really great stuff in there. But one of the points that I really want to emphasize that you were saying was like looking to your past, but not to blame. Because what can happen, I think, is that a lot of people, like, they'll be like looking towards their past and they can go down a rabbit hole almost, right? Because your past is so long, right? Like, there's so much in there, so many moments and things that you don't even remember, repressed memories, like all of these different things, right? And then if you start going through and like you can just sink deeper and deeper and deeper and just get focused on finding the root, right? But it can bring you on all of these twists and turns, and people really have to know when you should just put like a stop there and deal with what you got, right? Because like you could sit there and think for years and years about the root of your issues, right?
Correct.
And even if you don't necessarily know the 100% what the root is, you can still work with something that might be the root, right? Like, let's say someone has a fear of streets for some reason.
Okay.
Their real root of the cause of their fear might be some scary story they heard when they were little, but what they remember is being scared when they were little because of a car driving fast or something like that, right? You can deal with the memory that you do remember and take steps to overcome that without knowing what the true real cause was. So don't like obsessed about finding the real root of it. Like, that'll come with time, but work with what you have first of all. So that was the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I wanted to say was what I think it's I love how you were talking about the how to, right? Because I think a lot of confidence is just feeling like in control, right? Like feeling like you got the situation. But if you don't feel like you're in control of the situation, or like the situation is getting out of hand, that's when people start to get nervous, right? Like, oh man, I don't know what to do now. When you have a how-to and kind of like an agenda that you don't follow like necessarily 100% to the dot, because then you can get like a little too much there. But if you have like a rough idea of like, okay, this is how I want to go about this, you feel like you know how things are going to go. And you feel like you can handle it because you've thought about it. You've thought it through. You feel prepared, right?
Correct.
The last thing I wanted to get into, I'm forgetting.
She's forgetting, guys.
I'm forgetting, guys.
She has a slight case of Alzheimer's. I'm just kidding. But, did you get it back or no?
No, it's gone.
Alright, so she's still thinking, guys. But in the meantime, as she's thinking, guys, please follow us. If you're not following us, comment, like this video, share it. Okay, go.
Okay, what I think is really the 100% best way to gain confidence is just past experiences, right? Like getting good results over and over and over again, right? Now, how do you get those good results over and over and over again? You keep trying, right? You keep trying. You do the how-to. You get that plan set up, and you follow like a set rhythm so that you feel that success, and it feels like it's more common for you to be successful than to be not successful. But the only way you can do that is by trying. So you kind of have to, like, in the beginning, you're kind of just going to have to build up the courage. And courage doesn't mean that you're not scared. It just means you're not letting that fear hold you back. But to build up that courage and just try until you start building up a record of success, because that's going to really build up your confidence in a given situation more and more. What do you think?
I love it. Past experiences. That was a great answer. I'm like in such awe. Like,
I know.
she has that effect on me, guys. But
Here,
guys,
let me do it again.
go. Oh. Whoa. Guys, we really appreciate you guys watching this video. Please, guys, comment on the points that you liked on how to become more confident, or maybe if there were certain things that we didn't mention, write it down. Yeah.
Do you want to give some examples of things that we have had to build up our confidence in?
That's true. So before we end this video, we are going to talk about this. So a lot of people, right, they're trying to overcome certain problems, certain issues, certain hurdles, because they want to get better at something. In my case, and Aliza will mention hers, was I used to have a stuttering problem, which I still do have, as a matter of fact, but I've been able to overcome it. But ever since I was born, I remember I've always had a stutter for forever. And at the time, my parents couldn't afford like speech therapy, and I never went to any of those classes. But I wanted to overcome it. I didn't want my tongue or my inability to speak to just beat me, and I could stay stagnant and have self-pity for myself and have people feel bad for me. I wanted to continue and have that. I wanted to get to a certain point. I had goals, and in order to do that, you have to communicate well. There was so many times where I wanted to give up, guys. I wanted to give up. I wanted to just throw in the towel and say, you know something, whatever. I won't be able to speak well. I'll let the stutter beat me. But I had to build confidence to know that eventually one day I'll be able to beat that stutter. You have to remember, building confidence, right, and being able to overcome situations, it's like investing in a startup, right? Investing in the startup is probably one of the best and most lucrative ways to invest, because yes, there's so many times where you can invest in startups and they won't do well at all. But if you find that one correct one, right, of course it'll blow up, like maybe investing in Uber and Twitter. But the point is this. The point is that you can invest now, but you won't see results next week, next month, even maybe a year from now, maybe very little. A lot of times when you invest in these startup companies, you'll see results 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 7 years from now. Same thing with building confidence. It takes time. Just because you hear this video and then you start doing one of our techniques, it doesn't mean that you're going to build confidence immediately. It's going to take time. Practice.
It's also
knowing
skill,
how
guys.
to. The
Building
skill.
up that confidence.
That's really it. Do you want to mention yours?
Oh, sure. So I used to be really, really, really like astronomically bad with my personal finances. Like.
Okay.
Wow. No, I was really bad at it, guys. I never knew how much money I had in my account because I would get such anxiety about even checking it. Like, I just wouldn't check how much I had. Like, I went overdrawn on my account, like, at least once a day towards, like, the end of the month before I got paid. I was always trying to figure out schemes to pay rent. Groceries was, like, I was very creative. That's part of the reason why I can cook more creatively is because I just didn't know how to buy. I was really bad at it, guys. But one of the things actually that we didn't mention in the video but we really should is that having a really good support system that can help you out where you are weak, right? When I met Aurus, I was still really bad at my finances. And we had a discussion one night about finances and everything like that. I remember sitting at my kitchen table and I was like, oh no. But he was able to really teach me and show me how to manage it, right? And now I can like check my account like every day if I feel like it, and I'm not getting tons of anxiety, just like a little bit. But having him around and like showing me the steps to take, and him like kind of like not being like judgmental of the fact that I was falling a lot, but just helping me through it. And now I feel very confident in my personal finances. Like, we talk about budget all the time because I feel like I can handle it now, and I know when I feel like in control because I got the steps how to do it now. So let's say you see that you personally have a big weakness in the area and you're not confident in it. Find someone who is confident in it and non-judgmental, right? Like Aldous is non-judgmental. So he was able to help me. Because that can also build up your confidence because you can trust them if you don't trust yourself yet. And then eventually you'll build up to the level where you also trust yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
It's super. It sounds simple, but it can be also very difficult to try and accomplish.
Yeah, because there's so much anxiety, guys. We get it. There's lots of anxiety. But I'm telling you, it's going to be better after. 100%.
100%. And we appreciate this question, guys. We really do. Please, guys, send us your questions, your comments, share this video, like it. Please, guys. We need it. We need it, guys.
We really do, guys.
We really do.
Please.
Please, guys. Help us out.
Build up our confidence.
Guys, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And of course, till next time.